Technology has always interested me. And what I'm going to talk about probably is some things that a lot of you are already doing. And so I may be preaching to the choir, but hopefully there'll be a few ideas that I throw out that'll be helpful. And like Aaron said, you know, we're trying to top Matt's performance. And as I look out on the crowd, I tell you, if I can get this cranked up, Matt's presentation is hard to top. And first of all, go into the first topic that I want to talk to you about, and that's going paperless. I want you to get rid of that paper because you don't need it. It's cluttering up your office, it's cluttering up your files, and it's costing you money, and you just don't need it. I made the decision a couple of years ago to go paperless. Now, am I paperless at my office? No, I've still got a lot of paper, but I've got a lot less paper than I had before. And things are easier to find than they were before. You know, if you scan all of your documents and then let go of what you don't really absolutely have to hold on to, you'll find that it's liberating, that you can find things easier. And modern computers have a search within feature. And if you name the file after you've scanned the document and give it a file name that helps you find the document, you can use that search within feature to find the document anywhere in your computer. But of course, we're going to talk about how you can organize your files and your folders to organize those documents and make them easier to find. When you shred documents that you don't need, you're going to find that when you close your files after the case is over with, you're using a lot less storage space. And isn't storage space at a premium? Isn't space around your office right now at a premium? Having to rent a place to store your closed files. So get rid of the stuff you don't need. Have it in storage digitally. And then if you need to retrieve it later on down the road, you can. And it's an acceptable way of doing it. Put it in your fee agreement with your client that you're going to store the images in PDF format. And if they want a copy of their file in the future, that's how you give it to them. You'll save money on the cost of paper and toner as well. So those are some of the benefits of going paperless. Now, if you can't let go of paper because you have an emotional attachment to it, you're scared you're going to not be able to find something that you've stored, then you can hold on to the documents that you absolutely have to use. Okay? I like to hold on to medical records because it's easier sometimes to flip through paper. But then at the end of the case, it makes it a lot easier because I've already scanned in those documents to shred them and let go of them then. Now, you're going to need to back up those documents for long-term storage and retrieval. And how do you do that? We'll talk about that in just a minute. But there are some things that you should not shred. And some of those things are original documents like wills, notarized documents like affidavits, evidence. So you don't ever shred those things because they may be needed sometime. And as you know with e-filing, if you've got a notarized document, an affidavit or whatnot, you can scan it and e-file it, but you still have to save it in case it's needed down the road for discovery. Well, one of the ways that you can make that information accessible down the road is through an application called Dropbox. Now, how many of you use Dropbox? Okay, several of you do. How many of you have ever heard of Dropbox but never used it? Okay. Well, I want to tell you, it was one of the things that really helped me change and improve my law practice. And Dropbox is an application that you can do a trial download off the internet for free, and you download it on a computer, and then you move your documents, your pictures, your videos, your audios into it, and it uploads them to the cloud. And then you can access those documents, recordings, pictures from any other computer that you have Dropbox downloaded onto, or anywhere you can get on the internet, because you can go to the Dropbox website and log in on your account and retrieve those things. And so it makes your office portable. So you can work from home, you can work at a coffee shop, you can work when you're on a trip, and you don't have to carry a flash drive around. I talked to a lawyer yesterday who was talking about he went somewhere and he had forgotten to take the flash drive with him that had all of the documents that he was supposed to use. With Dropbox, you don't have to worry about that. Something else that is going to help revolutionize the practice of trial work is that with the use of the iPad and Dropbox, you no longer have to carry box loads of documents to the courtroom. You've got your entire case in Dropbox on your iPad, or on a laptop for that matter, if you'd rather use a laptop. But with Dropbox, you can get enormous amounts of storage space. And for a couple of $100s a year, I've got enough storage that I've been dumping everything. And when I say everything, I mean literally everything that comes into my office and everything that goes out of my office into Dropbox. And for 2 years, I haven't used up the space that you buy for an annual subscription of $200. All right? Dropbox acts as a backup. And how many times have you ever deleted a file accidentally on your computer and then said, uh-oh, I shouldn't have done that. I needed that file. With Dropbox, for 30 days, you can go back and get the file that you deleted. And also, if you've made revisions to a file, you can go back and get the revisions of the file for 30 days. And with a different subscription plan, you can have unlimited retrieval rights. So Dropbox acts as a long-term backup and storage device. Another great thing about Dropbox is that how many times have you ever had to email somebody a big file, a lot of documents, and it clogs up your email while you're waiting for it to send? Or somebody sends you a big file, and so you can't get any more emails and you can't send any more out because you're waiting for this big file to come through. With Dropbox, you can email a link to a folder or a file on your computer, and no matter what size it is, they receive the link in their email. It goes right away. There's no delay. And when they receive that link, they click on it, and boom, they've got access to just that folder or just that file. And it's great for sharing documents with expert witnesses that you need to review documents for you, or discovery, when you're exchanging discovery with other attorneys. If you choose to go the paperless route, you're going to need a good shredder, or you're going to need to get a shredding service to come in and pick up your documents to shred. Don't rely on one of those little jobs from Office Depot, because you'll wind up not being able to shred just a few documents at a time, and you're going to need to be getting rid of a lot of documents every day. So get a good industrial grade shredder, or subscribe to one of the commercial services. When you're at the office, and like I said, I'm trying to share ideas that hopefully will make you a little more productive at the office and make your job easier, but also when we get to trial, we want to be more flexible and more nimble. Technology helps level the playing field between us small-time attorneys, solo practitioners, or small firms, and the big firms. And so the more effective, the more efficient we can be, the better we can compete with them and keep up. Well, all right, like me, a lot of you probably dictate. If you have a secretary, you dictate, and then you give that dictation in some form to your assistant by downloading from a digital recorder to her computer, or a tape recorder, and then giving her the cassette, and then she plays it back with a foot pedal. But if you think about it, when you do that, the same length of time that you talk is the same length of time that your assistant has to listen. And so it doubles the amount of time to get the work done. Why not speak just once? And what I'd hope to show you wirelessly, a demonstration of, but I can tell you about, is Dragon Naturally Speaking. Now, How many of you have used Dragon? Okay, a few of you have. Dragon, naturally speaking, is a software program that allows you to talk to your computer, and it actually types the words as you talk. And Dragon now has a couple of different methods available for doing your dictation. One is a headset that you wear, and you speak into the little microphone here, but then you can actually get it to play back some of what you're saying, and that's why it has the speaker. But the accuracy rate of Dragon is becoming very good. I first started trying Dragon maybe 10 years ago or more, and with my southern drawl, it really had a lot of trouble. It reminded me of the time when I was in New York and I went to the bus station to buy a ticket, and the fellow behind the window said, "Man, where are you from with that accent?" I said, "What accent?" He was the one with the accent. But, you know, it's gotten really good now. And when you used to buy Dragon, you would have to train it. You would read segments of script, and then it would recognize and the way that you say certain words. And they say now that with the newest version that it learns on the fly. You don't have to train it. So by using something like that, you can dictate emails, you can dictate letters, and then just email those to your assistant for her to put in the final form and send out. And then you've spoken only once. You've only had to say it once. Yeah, Doug?
Yeah, I would just suggest a couple of things. One, there's not that much of a price difference between the professional version and the basic version, and the professional is so much more accurate. And you can actually put in, like if you're doing citations and things like that, you can phonetically type in how it's going to sound. So when you say, you know, paren, alacrimat, 1976, it'll actually type that in. And the other thing I would suggest is watch what it's transcribing. Because I use it a lot because I do a lot of briefs. And even me, if I wait a little bit too long and go back and see what it's typed, then I'm thinking, what was I trying to say? So you do have to keep an eye on it, but it is really a time saver. And as David was saying, it's accurate because I don't really type. I'm not good at all, and I do appellate work, and so just to have that for statements of facts or things like that that you can sometimes dictate is very helpful. But I would spring the extra $50 or $75 to get the professional version because it's going to be a whole lot better.
Yeah. The ditch digging that Matt was talking about, you're sitting in your office late at night and you're reviewing these records, and you see these things that you want to pick out. How are you going to copy that down? Are you going to handwrite your notes and then try to read your writing later after having written it at 1 in the morning? I can't. Are you going to dictate it and let your assistant listen through the slurred speech because you were so tired and figure out what you were saying? Or let Dragon figure it out while you're looking at it right there. And that's a great way of just going ahead and transcribing notes while you're looking at them. All right, medical records, summarizing discovery, what have you. So it's a great way to speak only once and save time. I want to tout the benefits of Mac. You know, I've been practicing law for 17 years, and I've been a Windows computer user until this year. I made the switch to Mac, and I'm not going back. I really like the Mac products. And I've got several. There's an iMac, which is a big desktop job. But when you look at the iMac, all right, if you've got a Windows desktop computer, you know that you've got a monitor, and you've got a tower that you could either sit on the desk or down here on the floor beside your computer, and you've got a keyboard and a mouse. When you look at the iMac, it looks like a monitor, but that's the computer. It's just one device with a keypad and a little mouse pad. And the one we use is wireless. The keypad and the mouse pad is wireless. It's great. Doesn't take up much space at all. And then I've got an iMac, a MacBook Air computer, very lightweight, and an iPad. And the iPad is the thing that I want to talk to you in a little bit about that I think is going to change the way we practice law in the courtroom. And all the literature you read is talking about using the iPad in the courtroom. And also, the iPhone. Now, the iPhone is great because it syncs with, and all these computers, these devices, sync with each other with Mac. You can set them up so that you put the information in one, and then boom, it's automatically on the others. Saves a lot of time. Also, it's set up so that it's on my assistant's computer. The same thing. It's got a neat little device too. How many of you have iPhones? Okay, more people have iPhones. And how many of you use Siri to do things? You know? Siri, what time is it?
The time is 11:19 a.m.
Okay, did y'all hear that? And you probably knew that you could do things like that and ask questions and ask Siri, search Google for parental response, search Google for Alabama laws on contributory negligence.
Searching Google for Alabama laws on contributory negligence.
And then she does a web search for you, okay? Well, there's all kinds of things that you can use Siri to search the web for you with, but I want to talk about how she actually helps you with your law practice. Okay, let's say that I want to calendar an appointment. How many of you knew that you could tell Siri, schedule Joe Smith for November 17 at 2 p.m.?
Okay, I set up your event for November 17, 2013. Shall I schedule it?
Yes, and then I confirm it, and boom, it's on my calendar. Well, your Mac products have a calendar device, and it will sync with an existing, if you have like a Gmail calendar or a different web calendar, like I've used Yahoo for more than 10 years, and I have my iPhone and my other Mac products to sync with that calendar now, so that all I have to do is enter something one time, and it's on all of these calendars, even my assistant's calendars. And with Siri, I just tell them that I've got court on a certain day at a certain time in a certain place, and boom, she puts it on there for me. All right? Hands-free. Something else, if you're riding down the road and you want to text while driving, but you don't want to do it with your fingers, you can say, tell Matt Glover, please call me when you have a chance.
Ready to send it? Okay, I'll send your message.
All right? I just sent Matt a text message.
I got it.
There you go. All right? Now, let's say that I need to email my assistant, Nikki. I'm going down the road and I just remembered something. Email Nikki.
Calling Ricky Stokes.
No. Email Nikki.
Which one?
Where are you from with an accent?
Email Nikki.
Subject of your email.
Joe Smith.
Okay, what would you like the email to say?
Call him to set up an appointment next week.
Here's your message to Nikki Ready. Ready to send it?
And yes, I'm ready to send it. The subject line says Joe Smith, and the message says call him to set up an appointment next week. Now, one of the little problems with Siri is that background noise can affect the performance, and that may be some of the problem that we got here. But when I'm going down the road, down the highway, and I'm thinking of things and wanting to bug people, it's pretty easy to do it right there in my truck. And it just makes things so much simpler and easier and quicker to get done. All right? Another neat thing about the iPad and the iPhone with the practice of law is that there are so many neat apps that you can download for free. And the app store that Mac has available is kind of like being in a toy store if you like technology. You can download apps that help you do things like scanning, banking. All the companies that you deal with now have created apps to help you interact with them more efficiently when you're on the go. Search engines like Google and Yahoo, news services, and with Siri, probably most of you know that you can get driving directions and actually have Siri tell you which turns to take. So when you're going to a deposition, you're going to somewhere that you haven't been and you need help getting there, you've got a companion that navigates for you on the go. Another neat thing about the iPhone is that you can create an internet hotspot. All right, so if I was somewhere that I didn't have access to the internet and I wanted to use my MacBook Air or my iPad, you can go in here and tell it to create a hotspot that enables you to get on the internet using your phone. So, in short, I'm just really sold on the Mac products. I think they're great, and I'm not going back to Windows. Another thing about the syncing is that, you know, with a camera, maybe sometimes you need to take a picture of something that you might need to use later on in court or for an exhibit or for an illustration, and you can use your phone for a camera, and it'll automatically be on the other computers. So your assistant can go ahead and move it into the client's file. Now, Mac products have, like Dragon Naturally Speaking, built-in voice recognition products, but they're not good for long dictation. With Mac products, you can hit the Command key twice and then say what you want it to type. It's good for a couple of sentences, but if you're depending on voice recognition to do a lot of typing, like a brief or extended dictation, get the Dragon Naturally Speaking. Now, some of you have products that are software that will only run on Windows, okay? A Mac won't run them. And you just got to have that. And like time slips. Do any of you use time slips to keep your time when you bill by the hour? Or there's a PDF product that I like a lot. It's called PDF Pro. And it does a lot of things at a low cost. Well, there's a program, a software product called Parallels that you can download to your Mac product, your desktop or your notebook computer, and it will allow you to run the Windows-based computer programs on your Mac. So don't be completely shy about getting away from Windows. You still have a way of using those Windows-based products. And also, Microsoft Office has created a suite for Mac that's just as good as what runs on your Windows computer. And you can get it for your Mac, and it has Word, it has Outlook, it has Excel, it has PowerPoint, and it's great. That's what I use on my MacBook Air. As you know, Mac is subject to fewer viruses, and it's a more closed environment. So it runs, to me, it runs great, it runs fast, it's very efficient. Did you have a question?
Yeah, is WordPerfect available on Mac?
Not that I know of. I used WordPerfect for many years, and then I got away from it because everything just seems to integrate with Word.
I had a second question too. Does Alifile have an it seems like I was on my iPad looking at Alifile the other day, and it asked me did I want to file something by taking a picture of it. Have you done anything like that?
No, that's news to me.
I didn't know if there was an Alifile app or anything that you knew about.
No, but I'll tell you, Alifile does have a neat little product that if you're a Windows user, could help you a lot with time management. They have an app that you can download from Alicorp that will actually put, if you use Outlook, for your calendar, Alicourt will actually automatically put your court calendar on your Outlook calendar. So all of your court appearances, you no longer have to enter them in your calendar. Alicourt, through this app, will do it for you. And that's pretty cool. But it doesn't work with Mac. You have to set up a Gmail account and get them to guide you through setting it up that way. You have to use a different online computer, online calendar.
But once it's in Gmail, it'll sync with you can get, Apple apps that'll sync with Gmail, calendar apps, so.
Have you been able to do that?
I sync other calendars, various school calendars and event calendars and things like that. And if you can get it into Gmail, your various Apple calendar, I don't know if the resident one will, but some of the others will sync with your Gmail. So once it's in Gmail, then you'd be just as good.
Well, Doug's going to give his cell phone number out to all of y'all at the end of the presentation.
I'm one of the few people probably that I use an iPad and a Droid phone.
Uh-huh.
But I have my calendar's based on Google Calendar. It all syncs to Google Calendar. And it works with my secretary's desktop and everything.
Cool, okay. Saves a lot of time,
It
doesn't it?
takes, you be real patient and sit down when you start going with that calendar and trying to get everything to sync up. But once you get it done, it's really, really good.
Now, the new Mac products don't have an internal CD reader, so if you need to run CDs or download stuff onto a CD, they do have an external device that you can buy, and it works really well. Now, finally, let me talk about the iPad and why, all of the talk is about it being the future of litigation. Like we said earlier, you can download your entire case, your entire file into iPad and take it to court with you. And you want a way to be able to present when you get to trial. So I'm going to show you a neat app that's called Trial Director. And with Trial Director, you can put your case in a format that you can use in presenting in court and also do things with it. And this is a free app, by the way. Okay? All right, let's say you've got this case. This is our client. I'm going to show you a video here. And this is a surveillance video. All right? Now, these guys are standing in the lot here, and our client's coming down the road and is going to turn into the driveway to head towards where they are. But watch what happens just as she's starting to turn. An ambulance is going to sideswipe her. Here she comes, and boom, ambulance hits her. Okay? You can put your video in Trial Director and play it back from the iPad. Okay, what else can we do? Well, we've got the state trooper on the stand, and he's testifying, or our accident reconstruction expert, if the trooper is so trained, could serve as one. And he shows us his drawing, and he tells us that our client, from his inspection, was coming down the road this way and was going to turn into the parking lot this way. Okay? And here's our client on the diagram. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can do this. Yeah. Okay, here's our client right here, and then our client's turning and gets right to this position, and the ambulance, here's the ambulance back here. Ambulance changes lane to pass cars that are behind our client, moves over into the opposite lane, and then you see the ambulance here, and then actually moves over into the mouth of the parking lot trying to avoid our client, is speeding, and right here, boom, we've got impact. The ambulance then continues over to here and comes to a rest in this position here. And so you've got your properly qualified witness on the stand, and you've introduced all the documentation to substantiate this, and you're able to illustrate with these devices what happened on the ground. Okay? Now, trooper or accident reconstruction report, says the vehicle number 2 failed to use due regard by failing to yield to vehicle 1's proper left turn. Okay? Illustration, photograph of the car. Now, since iPad is a touch screen, you can enlarge the picture simply by touching the screen and spreading your fingers and making the picture larger or smaller. So if you want to zoom in on a certain aspect of it, but also with the features in Trial Director, you can highlight different things such as drawing a box around damage here to call attention to it, or making a circle around something that you want to emphasize. You can do call-outs that make a part of it pop out. Okay? You can call attention with a little laser pointer device. All right? And also, and here's where technology has been failing me a little bit on this iPad, side-by-side pictures. Here's the damage to the vehicle, and then we can put the trooper's diagram or the accident reconstruction right next to it, or even the video, and play the video back while we're talking about the damage to the vehicle. So Trial Director is a very flexible way of presenting your case. It's different from the illustrations that you've seen earlier, because those illustrations were made basically with PowerPoint. PowerPoint allows you to give a linear presentation, but it doesn't allow you to move around a lot. But with Trial Director, you can move back and forth from one slide to another and do different things. Also, let's say we want to illustrate medical illustrations, all right? We've got illustration of traumatic brain injury, okay? We've got doctor's report where MRI showed that the lumbar spine had a disc bulge at L5-S1. Medical illustration of a bulging disc. Hospital record describing shoulder pain with diagrams. Counselor's notes diagnosing the client with post-traumatic stress disorder. And remember what Cole talked about earlier? Nightmares about the wreck, sleep disorders. Deposition transcripts. So you get the idea. So I think that what we're going to see in the future is the courtroom, more and more use of the iPad in the courtroom. Now, our state courts are not really technology friendly yet. A lot of them aren't. Federal courts are. If you go to federal court, they're all set up and ready to go for you to illustrate like we're talking about. So I'm hopeful that our local bar associations may help take the lead in getting technology more into our courtroom, because I think it's really going to help the solo practitioner be more and more effective, because we all know that we're visual creatures. We hear, we see. We not only are relying on the testimony of a person or a black and white document or a color photograph. One of my big concerns that I think this sort of thing helps with is that even if you've got a bench trial, if the judge is looking at an exhibit or a photograph, he may miss a little bit of testimony. If you've got 12 people in a jury and you publish your exhibit, and just one of them may miss some important testimony while they're looking at or reading that exhibit, and your witness is continuing to testify. So this way, you introduce the exhibit, but then you publish it this way, and everybody's attention is focused here, and we don't have somebody looking here instead of listening to the witness, looking at the evidence. So, well, I think that I may have succeeded, because I'm going to show you now what I was trying to avoid. Let me see. And I didn't see this in anybody, but I still might if it takes any longer. While I'm waiting for it to come up, any questions? Yes?
You know, these assets holders,
Uh-huh. I've got several apps. Let's see. Pages is a word processor that you can use on the iPad. With the iPad, it's not really set up to do word processing. So Pages is a little app you can buy. Dropbox. I'll show you what Dropbox looks like. I wanted to show you all this for those of you who don't use it. Here's John Doe, hypothetical client, okay? And John Doe has got these different folders so you can put the different things that you would put in file folders. Like his intake sheet goes in client information. All of your copies of letters to and from the client and lawyers and so forth go in correspondence. Everything that gets filed in court goes in court filings. All of your discovery documents in that folder. Financial, anything that you spend money on your client for. Legal research, we all know what that is. Your notes, subpoenas. You can create more folders also.
What is that app?
That's Dropbox.
Okay.
Right.
You scan off your camera then?
I'm sorry?
You scan from your camera?
Well, see this CAM scanner right here? That's a scanning software app that helps make scanning easier, but it's not set up to do large-scale scanning. We've got a big floor machine that is a 4-in-1. It scans, copies, prints, and faxes. Right. Here's the Dragon dictation that Christy was talking about right here, and it's pretty good, but it looks like there's some privileged information on it.
Legal version of Dragon, for double the expense of the other.
Yes.
The other version.
Yes. Yeah, I've never played with it or used it, but
Yeah. Another version is professional version, the legal version is what
uh-huh.
David, I see you've got case maker up there too, and that's nice. That's nice to have too. If you need while you're in trial or something to pull up a case, decide a case.
Thank y'all for not doing that to me.
What Lexus also has layouts that you can pull up and show
Right. So those are good apps to have. One other thing you might want to take into consideration, if you're using Dropbox or one of the others, there's several of them. If you're going to be pulling up a lot of Word documents and actually utilizing them, there are some Word type apps that are available. It might cost you $15 or $16, but those apps will preserve your formatting. So when you pull it up, it looks exactly like the document, whereas some of the free Word kind of reading apps will not preserve formatting. So if you're going to be using it a lot for documents, then it might be worth investing the extra money for one of the, like, DataViz or, one of the ones that will actually preserve all the formatting in your Word document.
I know I went way over, but there was one more question I wanted to get. I'm sorry.
I was wondering if there's anything special you do about confidentiality. We were talking about Dropbox that anybody can use, but as attorneys, we're supposed to take special things not to
Right.
let that be accessible.
Right.
Is that something the bar is specifically addressed, or do you think?
They have a device or a software program that you can get that encrypts your Dropbox. But the state of Alabama bought me a free subscription to a credit monitoring service because somebody hacked into the Department of Revenue's website, so nothing is safe for 1 year. Yeah. Thank y'all.